The Penn State Nittany Lions will be going under a change that no one has seen quite before. Their new head coach is Bill O'Brien, and he's addressing the media in Chicago.
Super Bowl 46. Before his time in the NFL, he spent 14 seasons coaching college football. The Nittany Lions return a total of 9 starters from last year's team. Welcome to the podium, Coach. If you'd like to start with an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
Thank you. It's a little bit different media day than the last one I was at the Super Bowl, but honored to be here, honored to be a part of this conference. I think it's a fantastic conference with great coaches. We've got a bunch of kids back in State College right now that are sticking together, that have been through a lot of tough times over the last 6 months, but have turned the page and are ready to move forward. And all I can tell you is that we've got a great staff. We've got a tough, smart football team. Our fans need to get on board. Our alumni need to get on board. And our lettermen need to get on board. And with that, I'll open it to questions.
All right, let's go back here to the left in the middle first.
Hey, Bill, I was wondering if you could address sort of the challenge of keeping the guys together this week, and in particular, keeping other teams from recruiting them, and just address those challenges and if other teams have been on campus.
First thing I did after the 9 a.m. press conference on Monday is I had a 10 a.m. meeting, and I talked to our players about a number of things. And it's not really like me to tell people what I speak about in team meetings, but I will tell you that number one is I talked to them about the education that they're receiving at Penn State. It's a world-renowned institution. 600,000 alumni will tell you that. I talked to them about their commitment to each other. I talked to them about the bond that they formed with this football staff, a fantastic staff that cares about their players, good teachers, good men, good fathers. I talked to them about adversity. I gave them my own story, my own personal story on adversity as it related to my wife and I with our son Jack. And I talked to them about each one of them have stories of adversity in their lives. Our coaches have stories of adversity in their lives. And the measure of a man is how you overcome adversity. I talked to them about, without a shadow of a doubt, they're going to be able to play 6 to 7 bowl games per year in front of 108,000 screaming fans in Beaver Stadium, and I expect it to be 108,000 fans in Beaver Stadium. I talked to them about this staff and our ability to develop these guys for the National Football League. I told them that this staff isn't going anywhere, and we're committed to the 2012 football team. So those are some of the things I talked to them about. As far as other schools on campus, I said my piece on that yesterday. I have no idea what schools were on campus, nor do I care. And I will tell you that that's about all I have to say on that.
Okay, we've got a question over here to the right.
Hi, Coach. Could you give us any update on the Silas Redd situation?
No.
Over here to the left.
A couple of the coaches who were on earlier mentioned that, particularly Brett Bielema, that he wouldn't actively recruit the Penn State guys, even though obviously the NCAA is allowing him to, because of just he felt sort of a bond as you guys are in the same conference. Do you expect that sort of attitude and bond with coaches in the Big Ten as far as them recruiting your players now?
First of all, let me tell you how much respect I have for Brett Bielema. What he's done at the University of Wisconsin. He's a heck of a football coach, and it's been proven on the field and off the field there. Secondly, I can tell you that the rules are what they are, and guys are, it's like NFL free agency without the rules. So they can do what they want as long as they tell our compliance office that they are contacting these kids, and it is what it is. So I don't really have anything else to say on that.
Okay, we're going to go right up here to the left first and then over to the right.
Coach, have you spoken at all with Coach Beckman personally about coaches from his staff on campus?
No.
Over here to the right.
Going into this season, what do you expect to accomplish? Kind of what are your goals, and what do you think this team can do this year?
Again, I'm not into being a genie and standing up here and talking about where we're going to be in November. What I can tell you is, again, that we have a good, tough, smart football team right now that's back in State College. 3 of them are I think, just walked in the door here. These kids have a lot of pride in Penn State. They have a lot of pride in the university. And most importantly, they have a tremendous commitment to each other. And so what I expect is when we start practice on August 6th, that we're going to put forth the effort, the hard work to make sure that we field a very competitive football team September 1st against Ohio.
Okay, right here in the white up front.
Coach, you had to field so many questions about other things. Let's just talk about football. What are your initial evaluations of your team and what you have? I know you don't know who's going to necessarily be there, but with what you have.
Well, again, I'll start on the offensive side of the ball. I felt good about many of the positions. I'll start with the offensive line. You know, when I took the job, many people told me, your offensive line isn't very good, and I would beg to differ. We've got some guys there that had excellent spring practices. We've got good depth there. We've got athletic guys there. We've got smart, tough guys there. So I've been pleased with the offensive line, and also obviously their development in the weight room hopefully will show up when we start practice in August. You know, the quarterback situation, Matt McGloin's our starter. He's smart, he's tough, he's competitive, and I'm proud to have him as the starting quarterback at Penn State. We've got depth at wide receiver. We've got 3, 4, 5 guys there. Justin Brown, Allen Robinson, Alex Kenny. We've got Evan Lewis coming back on the football team. We've got a number of guys there, Shawnee Kersey, that we think can really help us and play well. Our tight end position, again, we've got decent depth there. We've got 3 or 4 guys that can play. Gary Gilliam, Jesse James. We feel good about that. Our running back position with Silas coming back and with Billy Belton there and Derek Day, feel good about the depth there. Defensively, feel very good about the front 7. Jordan Hill, who will be here today. Mike Mowdy at linebacker. Gerald Hodges is a preseason All-American. Expecting him to have a fantastic season. Our secondary, led by Stephon Morris, Malcolm Willis, 2 seniors that are good, tough, smart football players. I think we're going to be in good shape there. So, we feel very good about where we're at defensively. And special teams-wise, we put in all of our schemes there last spring, and hopefully we'll be able to go out and be a good special teams unit too.
Okay, in the middle, right?
Coach over here.
Yeah.
Just wondering if you've turned to any other coaches or if there's a mentor in your life that's been helping you make the transition going from the NFL to being a college head coach.
Well, again, I've been fortunate to work for a lot of good head football coaches. George O'Leary at Central Florida, I worked for him at Georgia Tech. Ralph Friedgen at Maryland. I've worked for Mark Whipple, who's the quarterback coach of the Cleveland Browns when I worked for him at Brown University. And then obviously Bill Belichick. So, of course, those guys are friends of mine. And, some of those guys I've spoken to over the last 6 months since I took the job. And those guys' friendships mean a lot to me. And they've been very supportive of our program over the last 2 or 3 days also.
Okay, we're going to go in the back left and then up here in the right.
Coach, did it surprise you at all that the Big Ten didn't put any transfer restrictions within the conference? What's your thought on that? And did you have any communication with your administration about that before the issue came down?
Nothing surprises me, so no. The answer to the first question is no, and I have no thought on that.
Okay, over here to the right.
Coach, can you talk about your idea to possibly change Penn State's uniforms? That's something that resonates a lot with the fans.
Sure, yeah, there's a lot of discussions going on with our football team right now. We've got a group of young men there, like I've said, that are sticking together, and there's changes that have taken place at Penn State over the last 6 months that are reflected already in the new era of Penn State football. And some of the changes people will have to wait and see till September 1st.
Okay, over there to the right, middle.
Coach, have any of your players informed you that they intend to transfer?
Right now, no.
Where's the other mic holder? Okay, go ahead.
How have coaches Johnson and Vanderlinden aided in your transition?
They've been two key components to the staff. You know, when I was hired back in January, Rodney Erickson and Dave Joyner and some other people recommended those two men to me and held them in very high regard. And the reason was, there were many reasons. Good recruiters, good teachers, good men. The players had fantastic relationships with them. So I decided to sit down and talk with them, and then obviously decided to retain them on my staff. And over the last 6 months, I'm very glad that I did that. These are two good football coaches. We've got a lot of good coaches on our staff. And we feel very good about our staff, the chemistry on our staff, the open lines of communication on our staff, and in many ways, the championship pedigree of our staff. So we feel good about it, and those are two guys that are a big part of it.
Over here to the left.
Bill, what did you think of the way that your bosses at Penn State negotiated the sanction agreement with the NCAA, and would you support an appeal of those NCAA sanctions, which seems to have some traction with the Board of Trustees?
I think our Board of Trustees came out with a statement last night that, as I've said over the last 2 days, that it's time to move forward, turn the page. The sanctions are what they are. It's time to get up and get going, which we started doing Monday at 10 a.m. I think Dr. Erickson is a tremendous leader. I think over the last 6 months, he's had to make some very, very difficult decisions, and he's made them. And I would say the same for Dave Joyner. So I'm proud to work for those two guys, and I stand by the decisions that they make.
Okay, I think we've got a question here in the blue.
Coach, what do you think will be the key to have success on the field in these upcoming years with the restrictions?
Well, again, the key is, number one, is to keep this 2012 team together, which right now it is together. And we've got to continue to communicate with our players, and that's what we're doing on a daily basis, minute to minute. We're communicating with these players. So that's number one. And then moving forward, you know, again, I've said this this morning, and I've said this over the last couple of days. You know, I've heard the talk that this is so bad, and, you know, what are we going to do? I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. I see it as an opportunity. I see it as a little bit of adversity that we need to overcome. I came from a league where there were 53 players on the roster, 8 practice squad players, and 45 players on the active roster, 21 on offense, 21 on defense, 3 specialists on game day. So I'm pretty well aware of how to handle you know, a roster of 65 scholarship players. So we have plans in place. I'm not going to get into the details of those. They're already in the works. But I don't think that's as bad as everybody says it is.
Okay, we've got one question over here to the left and then a final one to the right.
Over here, Coach. You come from one of the most successful offenses in the National Football League, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm interested, as you flip on the film for some of your young players at Penn State, especially your quarterback, Matt McGloin, what's the excitement level, interest level in that offense? And realistically, how much of that complex offense do you anticipate getting in this year and executing on?
Yeah, you know, when I was hired at Penn State and we started to get ready for spring practice, you know, we sat down and obviously we were watching a bunch of Patriot film from the last couple of years at New England. And, you know, I looked back at the team and I saw a lot of wide eyes, and, you know, because they were watching that film as fans. So I shut the clicker off or the projector off and I said, look, guys, we're looking at the schemes here. Don't worry that that's Tom Brady, and don't worry that that's Wes Welker and Gronkowski and Hernandez and all those guys. And that was a pretty funny moment in our team meeting room. But, you know, what we're trying to do there is put in the foundation of what we did in New England. Of course, you know, when you have Tom Brady, who's the best quarterback in the NFL, a future Hall of Famer, and all the different things that you talk about when you talk about Tom, the thing that people have to understand is he's been in that offense for 12 years, and he would tell you the same thing. That offense has evolved as he's evolved. So, you know, that's what we're doing. We're just we're putting in the foundation of it. And in spring practice, I felt like towards the end of spring practice, guys were getting it pretty well, and hopefully we hit the ground running when training camp starts on August 6th.
Unfortunately, Coach, that's all the time we have. Sorry about that. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thanks.